Keep in mind, if I close my eyes and listen, I picture everything around me. It's so peaceful, and only my sight is missing. Not a care in the world of the other side because I'm blind to that vision. My mind is that vision, so anything I think of can be real. Is that hard to imagine that my gallery isn't even close to its capacity? Because how do you feel infinity? Questions without answers like the meaning of life, but picture this. If life's limbo and that bar is your dreams, then depending on the level, depends if you succeed. Now, take a penny for your thoughts and look at that bar. That bar is in your mind, and anything you put your mind to or imagine can happen. Your thoughts can become things, so your daydreams can play out in real life setting, because not all scenes are set in stone. They are all subject to edits and change. Perfection is made and produced, not acquired. The people on top, they aren't better than you or I, they're just higher. And maybe they make a little bit more money, but their lives are glamorized with reality always on show, while we get to live in silence. Our privilege is silence, yet we bait our stories for views through social media eyelids that close and open back on screens, because missing out on timelines is our worst fear, as if we can't catch up anytime. The lens through which we're looking at things is of growth. Welcome back to ʻdʌbl. This month on the show, I am joined by the producers of the show. So, I think I need to give you guys a round of applause.
All good, man. All good.
So let me welcome to the show Q and Tish. And
how's it going?
Sorry, man.
Welcome you.
Thanks, guys. So this month, we are talking about the status quo. So we're reflecting on the end or a new beginning of the creative journey.
Mm-hmm.
So an artist goes through the cycle of experiencing the fall, then the rise, facing difficulties, expanding horizons, and then is the creative maintenance. But then after that maintenance, we have to come back to the status quo, anew. But I've got a question for you guys. How do we as artists use everything that we've learned on this cycle of artistic growth? And not only what is the best way to put it across to others, but how do we keep it inbounded on ourselves, grounded, I should say, in ourselves enough that we can teach others what we've learned? Because it's easy enough when you get something and you've learned it and you've read something or something, you're like, oh my gosh, I need to tell more people about this. But how does you make it a sustainable thing or sustainable force that not only that you, once you pass it on to that next person, they take it on, that they take it on and they want to pass it on to the next person they meet? How do you make that?
Interesting. From my experience, returning back to the status quo after going through the creative journey, the way you asked the question, it could almost make me feel like you might be able to feel like you have you have to have all of the things that you've learned and then use them all in one go for something, you know. But what I've learned is that you can have all the things, but use them bit by bit. You don't have to like just go 100% all the time, full capacity with everything that you've learned. So yeah, so otherwise it kind of dilutes your ability to transmit that potently to other people, you know, if you're trying to spread yourself thin, but as opposed to just trying to use everything you have at once, as opposed to letting it out potently when it needs to come out, you know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think the things about integration, what you learn, and what do you say, the trick of habits on a daily basis.
Keep it up for 3 weeks and marvel at the changes. Yeah.
When we can try and get those lessons and integrate them through habit forming, that's when it becomes
the daily, bro. The daily, man. Wow.
The daily thing, and like we're creatures of forgetfulness, where our brains process things that we deem necessary to remember every single night, and it forgets things that we deem necessary to forget for our survival. So if we consciously turn our attention to the importance of learning itself, I think on a subconscious level we're more readily able to integrate those lessons that we've learned along the way.
Definitely. Integration, man. Big one.
Yeah.
So you've integrated all these elements. Look, let's go through like maybe each element. So the fall.
The dark place.
Yeah. That's when you enter.
Yeah. Writer's block, no hope, you know, lack of creative drive and all that kind of stuff. Just all is a juicy ingredient for stagnation.
I really would love to dissect the ʻdʌbl journey itself.
It's been so interesting.
Journey, because there was a fall.
Yeah, there was.
There was a fall, and it wouldn't be a complete journey if we didn't have that.
Yeah.
You know, and there were frustrations along the way. There were seeming roadblocks, but actually there were springboards. Because where we are now in this amazing studio space, we wouldn't have conceived before that when we did.
That's true.
So that's one of the integrations of that form.
That's a great fall. Like
consistency over time. Exactly.
Even the manifestation of this show, like. From the idea, it came from a title, and then we which
came from fucking nowhere.
Like literally came from a title out of Tish's head.
Random 2 words in the moment. Why not? And it stuck. Wow.
And then somehow, from the manifestation of that name, we came up with an idea that literally is a double cabbage.
Yeah, that fit in nicely afterwards.
And then after the fall, there is the rise. So you get back up on the fall from you get back up on your feet, and you're ready to face things again. Yeah,
definitely, man. Just taking a hit, had some downtime, and now the ball's rolling again. About the momentum, you know.
It's really important to know that those are the steps that you will inevitably go through.
Yeah.
Because you look out for
the
them.
Staples. Yeah.
You look out for the next level when you're going through the previous one.
And you go through these, and it's the thing is, it's not just a creative process. It's like you go through these things on a daily basis. Yeah. Like the fall is just waking up. The rise is when you're out of bed now, you're dressed changed, you're ready, you're set for the day. Then you're facing difficulties just to get to your next location, you know?
Indeed.
Traffic's not on your time, the time's not on your time, like no one's working to your speed, and you can't get to the place where you want to get to, and then you expand your horizons. You think, well, I could go this route, or maybe I'll take an Uber half the journey.
Or another third way, which is a mystery at the moment that you have no idea about.
You haven't figured out yet. But there's always other options, some way that you can salvage what you've maybe lost, or you may have lost it for the reason that you needed to salvage.
Yeah, indeed. Despite what you as a little human thinks about it, you know, there's a bigger thing happening. You know, like when you face difficulties, it's like, it's important to say difficulties, not defeat. You know, you don't face defeat, you face difficulties because when you come back from that, it's just, you earn something that nobody else can really take away from you, man. You know, the sovereign stuff. That's real cool.
Stuff.
That's the juicy stuff, man.
On that note, I want to say one of the most amazing experiences of my life was one life lesson which I'll never ever forget, which I'd like to share, which was I went down to Mont Blanc one time and I attempted a solo summit of the mountain. I hitchhiked from London to Chamonix, where it was in France.
Wow.
And I didn't make it up the mountain. Long story short, I came back down only about a few kilometers away from the peak, and it was heartbreaking for me to do that. But I was injured and I had to come down. And I was beating myself up about I was so close to the mountain and it was my goal, that was my thing. And I came all the way from London with my thumb only for free. It took a whole month to come there, but I wasn't able to complete it. But the next day there was an avalanche which killed 2 professional Italian climbers on the same stretch of mountain I would have been coming down had I summited.
Oh.
So that told me that there's a blessing in everything that you're going through.
Yeah, it's difficult. I don't know.
Yeah, because I was beating myself up. What is this hardship that has come across my way that has ruined everything for me?
Yeah, exactly.
And these creative hardships we face in arts, like losing our phone, which had all our poems on it.
Yeah.
We never know, that could have triggered someone and made them jump off a bridge or something. There's avenues of which life, even. I think it's something to do with the butterfly effect too, small conversations that you don't know how it's going to affect your life.
Yeah.
So it's important to have those in the forefront, and I think it was good that I had this opportunity to share that, because people will probably be able to resonate with times in their life where they would have been going through some shit, but it actually had been a saving grace from a much bigger shit.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. I think that's what every problem is, It's like a gift, but wrapped in a problem. and the test is are you gonna get past that first layer? You're gonna break the wrapping paper to get the gift, or you're just gonna sit there with a box, it's not what I wanted. Okay, cool, cool.
Still we're gonna get
fun life,
innit?
Why don't you open that box and find out what's inside and how it actually works?
And then that's the daily thing as well, man. It starts off okay, you got this box, okay, you want to open it, and then it's your intention to want to open a box, and then it's the box being there, and then it's your intention to get the wrapping paper off, and then another layer comes in, and you get deeper into the process, and then you return back to the status quo for the next box, basically, right? But what have you learned from the last box? That you have to basically break through the layer, and it's all right to get your gift wrapped in a problem, innit? The problem is what's going on now in the world. It's nuts. It's crazy. It's leading creatives and people to do amazing things that have never been seen before ever.
Exactly.
Man. Literally, organizers of main events and really influential, impactful nights and stuff. We're all facing difficulties. You know what I'm saying? At the moment, we're in that process. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God! But that's so good. The virus is really bad, but what it's causing in the creative community, is so good. Man. Challenge accepted. Live.
That's what I'm saying. We're expanding her horizons, isn't it? What
100%.
else can we do? So we can't meet up in. All right, cool. There's other ways.
And your horizons can only be expanded if you do face difficulties.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a prerequisite for it.
Because if you're comfortable, what is there a reason to think of any other opportunity?
Eat your shit, sleep, repeat.
That's
it, man.
Status quo.
Well, and then you go back to creative maintenance after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Again, the daily thing, Yeah,
working back on your craft.
Literally, man. 5 minutes a day is better than 2 hours a week, man.
It's true. Any time of day.
Yeah, man. It's good to use the time. The 2 moments of time you always have in the day for yourself is just before you go to sleep and just after you wake up, If you can train yourself to get out of that whole mentality of oh, I'm tired, it's my relaxing lying time, whatever. You just get your mind active a bit on the future, and you project yourself, and you're just lying there in your bed, but it's all happening in your imagination, but that's still valid because that's one token towards that progression,
Yeah, that's true.
There was a amazing TED talk that I watched about them talking about rewiring your brain when you just approach things. So
that neuroplasticity.
There was a guy talking about when changing the way you look at getting up. So instead of calling it waking up, call it coming into consciousness. Because that's what
cool.
you do. And when
just
you do
just
that,
different words, isn't it, man?
yeah, and
For real.
creates a whole new landscape and a flavor for that process.
It's true.
And when you find yourself coming into consciousness every day, you get more excited about that. You've been charged with this energy called life, and you have a responsibility to dissipate it in the most productive way of the day. So you have to do that.
It's like we all get the same 24 hours in it, and we all get the same control over our thoughts and stuff. Like how do you mess with that?
Apparently, we have a limited amount of willpower to use every single day.
Finite. It's a finite thing, apparently.
And there's decision fatigue, which occurs as a result of overuse of it, and that's why they say some of the most successful CEOs wear the same clothes every day because they don't want to use that decision into doing that. Have very important decisions to make. So we make so many decisions based on social media. And because of that hyper normalization of social media being in front of us all the time, I think it's a good reminder to take a step back, especially in the first hour of the day, and not touch our phones.
Bro, it's so important. Literally, if you have that first hour, the thing will still be there. You know what I'm saying?
If there was one thing we could share to do to get the daily,
man.
It's to have that hour for yourself. Brush your teeth without checking your feed, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't done this for a while, but I remember when I used to put my phone, my alarm, like I used to be in one corner of the room. I put my phone basically as far as possible in the opposite direction of the room, so I'd have like a corner, like a cupboard with a little gap on the top. So I used to stuff my phone at the top there with the alarm on and stuff like that. And just when it used to ring, I was like getting up and it's but literally like a week later, you're like, okay, cool, man. I know how to stay just tired enough to get the phone, turn it off, and go back to sleep.
That's what I've done with Alexa now, you know.
Oh gosh.
No, because the alarm wakes me up, but it happened this morning. The alarm went off, and I woke up, and I said, "Alexa, stop," and I went straight back to sleep.
Stop! Who are you?
Alexa, stop.
Yeah, I just had to say it a couple of times as well. I was like, "Alexa, stop," and it still kept going. I was like, "Alexa, stop." And then she stopped, and then I was just like back to sleep. And then I woke up again, an hour and a half later, and I just woke up, and I was like, "What time is it? 9 o'clock." But I need to. If I woke up at that first alarm, I was thinking about this as I was going to work this morning. If I had woken up at that first alarm, I would have been so much more ready for the day, because it's not like I hadn't had enough sleep anyway.
Yeah, so like a sliding door situation. This half of Corey began this way,
but
this half of Corey, he woke up at 9 o'clock and his whole fucking day is different. His whole thing has changed. Crazy, man.
You have so much more productive time, like you were saying, in the morning.
Yeah, first couple hours, man.
Because that makes the kind of the arc of literally what you're going to do for the rest of that day.
I'd say a big...
your mindset.
Yeah, 100%. It's leading on to that point, the mindset, a lot of the people that you surround yourself with play a big role in your mindset, in how you think and the language that you use in your thoughts to yourself and to other people, and how you project yourself with the public as well. Like, so having your kind of core group is really important as well, and it's important to value that as well when you can be honest and open with everything that's going on in your life with specific people, and they can, you know, give you advice not from a personal point of view, from a compassionate point of view.
Yeah.
You know, and having those and regarding those relationships in your life, I think, is really important as well.
Yeah. Other heroes that have gone on the journey, you know, at the same time. Yeah, for real, man. Because it's so easy to think like, oh, this is so personal.
Yeah.
You know, how are you going to get it despite you being like one of my best friends or whatever, you know? But at the same time, it's like, try it.
Yeah.
Just try it, you know?
Ask someone else a question.
Yeah, literally, man. Because you'll find it with strangers, and you'll find it with like your besties and a whole bunch of other people, man. I've had like a really surprisingly open conversation with like an elderly lady on the train, because I gave her a seat. And then at the next stop, somebody got off on the seat next to her. I was like, okay, cool. I came around really quickly, so I just sat down and just talked about a lot of things, man. A lot of things, yeah, man.
But it's surprising. We don't. I only know this because my mum's from like the Midlands, and she's from a small town. She talks to random people all the time. Even in London, and she always says, like, you guys don't even talk to each other.
Yeah, avoid eye contact.
You know, and we don't. Like, it's so weird. If someone was to just speak to a random person on the train or on the bus, we would be like, why?
Yeah, before you realise, oh, it's okay, they're people too. So
yeah, you know,
it's cool. Yeah.
This is our social conditioning.
Yeah.
I'm living in the concrete jungle. I'm living in London, the most diverse and multiculturally, huge places in the world.
That is the status quo, man. That's why, like, going through this whole creative process, the fall, the rise, creative maintenance, facing difficulties. It's like you go through these things every day, you know? Like, outside, to some varying degree, you experience all of these things in every single day, you know?
And then you reach the status quo and you're just like...
Literally, the status quo, a new day. Like, cool.
Yeah,
same.
I need to do the same thing all over again tomorrow.
It's just that 1% gain in it.
Yeah.
You know?
But now I've learned all this. How do I give back and give it to other people? Or is it just enough for me to talk about it passionately enough?
It's interesting because even when you talk about it, it's clear or not whether it's what you're saying is in your experience, you know?
Yeah.
Like status quo, facing difficulties and stuff. I think, for example, by younger people, they really pick up on that when you're trying to transmit some of this stuff. Like we've done some things in hospitals with kids and stuff, and we've been able to really transmit some really cool stuff towards for them, and they really picked it up because we were being genuine about it, and like it felt really good. You know, there was no hierarchy. There was just interaction. You know,
so
like transference.
As we grow from kids to adults, we kind of lose that innocence in a sense where we don't judge things so much, or because that's the thing, although we don't judge, it's the same construct in every construct. There's always like the joker, the fool, like the class clown. There's always these same in every situation. I feel like even in a workplace, I feel like I'm in a school, because there's always the popular kids and the people who get special treatment, and then the people who don't, and then people that talk in the middle, and it's just like I feel like I'm just in school, but just like it's just I'm getting paid for it now.
Not enough.
You know, it's never enough.
It's interesting you say that. It's the similar dynamic that plays out in adult lives and also in society as well. The bad boys in school are in prison now. Yeah, you know, and
except the ones that were reformed and like just lost it.
Or just haven't been caught yet.
But it's the same thing. It's a similar dynamic, and I think rightly so. Like the artist's creative journey is a daily journey that you go through. You wake up in status quo because you have the same paradigm that you had 24 hours ago, and albeit a bit advanced. And I think for an artist to be aware of these is the first step, and then to navigate yourself through it with that knowledge is the next step, and then to continuously remind yourselves and on a daily basis go through that transformational exercise is 1%ing. You know, is 1%.
Especially like growing into the mentality of that, you know, that growth mindset, as opposed to hindering that because you're not thinking like that, you know. Because every artist goes through that, whether they know it or not, you know, like, or every person.
I think a really important thing to mention at this point, because it is about the growth mindset, right? The creative journey, 100%. But the growth mindset is an antithesis to the complaining mindset. What's it called? There's a word for it.
Fixed.
And it's like people who don't see themselves beyond their circumstances will have a really hard time getting out of them. You have to visualize yourself out of them first, and then you can pick yourself out of it.
Yeah, for real.
And we as human beings are we can do anything that we put our minds to. Like the sky's our limit, and to have that limiting negative mindset is one of the curses of humanity.
Yeah.
You know, we should always remind ourselves that we are powerful beyond our wildest imaginations. That's what actually scares us. It's our power.
Yeah,
not our
definitely,
ability.
man. And all these little small things that we do incrementally, day to day, really cements that neural pathway in your head. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So not only does it become like a thing that you just think, it becomes a belief, which is basically a recurring thought.
Yeah, and
you
this
know?
stuff is science, man.
For
This
real,
stuff is like
literally, electricity in the brain,
science.
like pathways growing bigger, like
You
you
can't
can't kidding
deny
me.
it.
Yeah, man.
Our
Yeah.
neuroplasticity, you can't deny it. This stuff has been
Yeah.
researched and scientifically documented.
Definitely, man.
So-
It takes a little while to gain momentum and like get into it, and you will ebb and flow out of it every now and again. But it's just, again, you don't. It's not about getting all the tools and using them all at once, you know, for one big purpose kind of thing. It's like it's just like like day to day, you know, calm, easy.
That's not the,
you know?
the way of nature. The
No,
way of nature
it's
is
like-
long and 1%ing.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not everything
absolutely.
was like this.
But
Yeah.
another thing people need to understand is when we talk about power, we're talking about knowledge, because that is the
And the
only true
potential to
power.
use it,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Because without knowledge, you don't really have any power. You don't really know what legs to stand on, really.
It's like you know. It's like, what's it? You know what you don't know, or you don't know what you don't know. Is that?
Yeah,
Is
you
that,
don't
you
know
don't
what
you
you
don't know
know.
what you don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like unforeseen
Yeah.
circumstances, like the blessings and the challenges, man. Yeah, it's like one thing from Napoleon Hill always stuck in my head was like the question, how can I, what is the seed of equivalent benefit in all of my life challenges? All of them, you know? Like fucking like my leg is itchy at the moment, like what's you know, don't know why.
True.
Thought I'd share that information with you guys.
No, it's true. Like
Right.
certain things itch and you don't know why.
Silver linings and all that kind of stuff, like
Or like, yeah, I know.
I think every difficulty that we face is the silver lining to our next,
Next
state
epiphany,
of
yeah.
being.
yeah. Each problem is pregnant with the next problem.
It's true, man.
And we just move through them, like, yeah.
Just give birth to them one by one, day
That's
by
it,
day.
that's it, yeah. I'm not saying children are problems. I mean, they are in the middle of Chiswick, but still.
But even when it's not a problem, there's still a silver lining. Like, I mean,
Yeah, it's just there's less resistance to it, isn't it?
yeah. But I just mean, like, even when you get what you wanted, don't get comfortable.
Yeah.
Because that's when you lose everything. When you get comfortable, then you're just like, well,
Been there, man, for sure.
I don't need to try anymore because it's all here for me. Or,
Yeah, and then you got to work twice as hard to get back to level 0. We know this as like people who train and stuff, you know, like literally you train for about 2-3 months straight, like consistently, and you're off for 3-4 days. On day 5, your body's gonna be like, yo, where you been, man? You know what I'm saying? Like,
this is
crazy.
Literally, this is what I'm going through right now with the jet lag. Like, Jamaica is a completely different, slower pace to what I'm going through right now. I'm tired by like 10, 11 o'clock, man. Like, because I'm like rushing, walking fast. Like before, I was just doing a full day, just taking nice, slow steps, you know, sun. But like now, and I've also found out that I only have allergies because of this country.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
Pollen is high here, but in Jamaica there's no pollen. I would
So
not
you
have.
were calm. There was nothing like.
I had no allergies.
Okay, man.
Cool, man. I was just thinking, like, so are you planning to move there or like?
Optimal breathing.
Oh yeah, I would love to move to Jamaica. It's dope.
Well, if it helps you breathe better than this place, yeah.
I would love to move to Jamaica, but yeah, just because of the sun.
Yeah, man.
I just had a thought about returning to the status quo. Sometimes when you're going through the thick of it, it's hard to foresee that you will return to the status quo. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
It's
saying?
almost
Like,
impossible sometimes.
yeah, it's really hard to conceive, but it's like on faith in a way, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're gonna return to another status quo. It might be a little bit different. You might be cracked or whatever, you know, but like tape it up and then go for the next round kind of thing, you know?
That's
like
true.
you're
How do we tell someone, who's going through the most densest hardship, who is telling them it'll be alright, you know, it's a status, because it's like the worst thing.
Bro, that's like if they're hungry, let me just tape a sandwich to your chest, innit? Like,
yeah, 100%. I know that
practical.
as well. It's it's hard to accept when someone tells you something like that after a big hardship.
Yeah.
You know what they
Despite
say?
if they've gone through it or not.
Yeah.
They say people come into your life for a reason, a season, a blessing, or a lesson.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
And that's such a beautiful saying, because it made me take that step back out of the situation, and I was like, wait, nature has 4 seasons, and each of those seasons are about 4 or 5 months long.
Yeah.
And my situation is seasonal too. The season of my life, like I went through a period of my life where I got divorced. And I look back on that period and I'm like, that's a season of my life, because there was a vibration which I was going through, and I had certain questions and so forth. So different periods of your life, if you look back, you can connect the dots. And this is something that Steve Jobs said. When you look back on your life, you can always connect the dots to where you are and how you got to where you are today. And when you're looking in the future, all you can do is have hope for the trajectory of that correlation to go the same.
Yeah, man. I've got a real feeling, right, that when I die and I see that whole timeline, I'm gonna piss myself laughing. Like, all this stuff that happened and all these little bits and details and stuff, like it's just gonna be hilariously divine, man.
There's an amazing artist called Sophie Tier, and she said that if you're grateful for where you are now, then you can't ever regret anything in your life, because every single thing, good and bad, has got you to where you are today. And if life's good today, then it's been good. Then you can't regret. You have no regrets.
It's true.
That's life, innit? Cool, we're done. Safe.
Well done.
Thank you.
It's true though. You can't. What's the thing over spilt milk?
Don't cry over spilt milk.
Is that the saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
Don't cry over spilt milk.
Set in milk. I mean stone. Yeah.
Set in milk. Set in curd.
It's so funny, man. The process has its clear guidelines and checkpoints, and we all go through them on a daily basis and on like a cyclic basis at different intensities, because we're all different individuals, For example, like if we did an Ironman right now, I would have a difficult time doing it. You know what I'm saying? You, my friend, will breeze through it, right? But it's like I'll go through that certain stages more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
at the same time, we still have the collective like commonality of being in a status quo, moving into another one, on and on. It's like the most profound things just happen to be the most simplest things,
Yeah.
Like everything else is like minutiae and details and stuff.
It's like the whole creative journey is like a monsoon season. And everyone has different umbrellas which have different materials, which the hailstones of
Trust
the
me,
whole
man.
thing
The
come
rain
through.
doesn't give a crap what kind of umbrella you got, man. The rain is the rain. Like I'm gonna do my thing. Like welcome to nature, man.
Yeah. So the status quo is something that applies to everyone, and is wherever you find yourself in that comfortable place. If you think in the moment that life's just about going perfect, is when you'll be hit with the thing.
Yeah, man. Because you get to a point where you really ask yourself, what do you want?
Yeah.
Like, never mind what's around you. It's like a lot of people, it's easy to ask themselves what they want or answer that question based in terms of what they know about themselves and what they have around them. And exactly what you were saying earlier, if you can't visualize or mentally, like in the place in your head where you can have no bounds, right? If you can treat it like that and project yourself in different places, then that's so amazing, man. Because I used to wash dishes 4 days a week, right? And it was kind of hard work, right? But the blessed thing about that was I was able to listen to headphones, like
Listen to music.
listen to music on headphones and other things. And I was basically working really hard. Like my body was like mechanically doing one thing, but my head was in so many different places, really feeling like what it would be like to like experience my future 5D while I'm sitting there washing dishes and things, Same thing with like the shamanic journeys and things like that. When you enter different states like that, you're experiencing something which is completely valid, completely real, because what it makes you feel when it comes back is not only the first step of the real thing. That feeling inspires action, and that's how it becomes real, Like how experience turns into a poem, turns into effect on other people, Mad.
Psychology, right? In essence, by definition, is the quantifying of our behavior, right? And how we behave and what we do physically with our bodies, and why and how we do that connected to our brain.
Sure.
And the creative and the artistic journey is, in a way, it has these milestones that like psychological milestones that allow us to kind of checkpoint in on that journey, and just use them as milestones, as it were. You know?
Indeed.
Like when you're climbing a mountain, you always see kind of like piles of rocks and stones that people put up to
that was crazy.
Dissipate the energy of the of the mountain upwards. And in the same way, we use events and we use people and we use just our own self as those milestones throughout the creative journey. We can easily do that.
Because those are solid reference points. Those are going to be there, you know? Like, it's like how the ancients and stuff look at the stars and stuff, you know? Like, that's there now, always. Like, oh, they're there again tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. You can it's reliable information that you can base the rest of your journey off, you know? So I think, when we do that with people together is amazing, man. Because doing something like that with another person really helps lift you out of your own brain fog, you know, sometimes.
So, you know, a really interesting thought just now. There's our circadian rhythm, which is our biological functioning, right? But then there needs to be also a correlative mental and emotional and spiritual circadian, as it were, rhythm. And those circadian rhythms for the mental, for the psyche, is the creative process and is the journey, because that's a cycle. It's a cyclical thing that we go through. And there's no time, because time doesn't exist in that realm. It's just, it depends on where you are in your life. Sometimes the status quo being there can take a whole month or a day.
So in that respect, that really blurs the boundaries between a regular person and a creative person, because in that realm, everyone is creative. It just is creative, you know. Whatever you do or think is creative, you know. It's like mental volition. It's dope, man. It's like you can never not do something, you know. You can never stop doing something.
I got a question. So ʻdʌbl has faced its own kind of journey, as it were, creative journey. And I think it's interesting to point out some of the things that we put in place to ensure that we're here now. You know, and one of those is an attitude of being non-judgmental and open and honest as well, because that allows you to take the first step. You know, they say AA meetings, you know, the first step to recovery is to acknowledge that you have an addiction, you know. So it's the same kind of similar process where if we're like, okay, we need to create something and we have to do it, and although there has been a fall, we need to continue on the rise, and then we create the conditions for that to happen. And I think that's a really salient point to mention about creating the conditions for your upliftment and for you to come out of that hole.
Literally, anything that helps that momentum, you know,
So like Tish was saying about the projecting what you want. But then I think it's just more than just what you want, but like what you want, and then what you're gonna do with what you want. And then who you need to be to get what you want to do the thing. Like, you know, like you need
levels,
to be thinking about all the expanding horizons. You need to be. That's what the status quo is. You thinking about the fall, the rise, the breaking through boundaries, expanding horizons, and then the creative maintenance. But you're just projecting it out there, and once it's out there, then you can kind of just, as like your clothes, step into it. And that's what your daily struggle is. Every day you do a new leg, or you're putting on a sock, and then suddenly you're turning the next side of your laces, and now you got your laces on, you got your shoe on. All right, cool. So how do I get my next shoe on? How do I get my next sock on? What's the next move? Like, where is my sock? Where is my shoe? All right, cool. How do I find it? Like,
that's nuts, man. It made me think, like, maybe that's what time is for. So time is like the ability, or like the substance that an idea moves through to become real, you know? For example, like putting on your clothes or whatever. You could, like, let's say you didn't perform an action. It's like, I'm gonna wear this, I'm gonna wear this, I'm gonna wear this, I'm gonna wear this, I'm gonna wear this. Before too long, you have like 100 outfits in your head that you're wearing, which is totally not practical. But you need time, like physical time, to move through that, to put the pant leg on and all that stuff, to reach that level of fulfillment. You know what I'm saying? And then come back to the status quo again. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Just time is like a substance that things move through to become real. Like, you know.
The density of it all eludes me.
Me too.
for this episode?
Do we have one?
That was it. I just done. I
Quote.
just gave you one. Bish bash bosh.
I don't personally have a quote.
Any off the top?
Yeah, there's that one that you know, right?
Yeah.
Marianne Williamson's.
Oh yeah. Our greatest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure.
It is not our darkness that frightens us.
Yeah, but our light. Yeah, of course it's the light.
You
What else is it going to be?
Serving, being small does not serve the world.
Yes, there's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We're all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we
let our own light shine, we unconsciously
yeah.
give others the permission
Thank
to do
you.
the same.
Yeah, and as we're liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others.
Yeah.
Nice.
I really like the way
Man,
you
there's
guys
so
delivered
much in
that.
that. There's so much inside that. Wow.
There's so much.
I really like the way you guys
yeah.
delivered that.
Yeah, cool.
Q was so sure about everything he was saying, and Tish was like,
It could be this. It might be this. Might be that. Yeah.
Mary Ann Williamson.
I think it was the quote that we used in the first episode as well.
Oh, yes, it was. It
Yeah.
was he. Wow, look at that coming back to status quo.
Mhm,
Exactly.
mhm.
That's amazing.
Good old quo.
Cool.
Awesome stuff, man. Wicked.
What have we learned from this journey?
A lot. Especially from all the guests we've had, man.
Yeah.
We've had like a lot of cool perspectives, man.
Mhm.
And these are all individuals that are doing their daily things. You know, they're all out there just making ripples into
One
waves.
of the things I think I've learned is that it's like everything's cyclical, right? There's a lot of things that are cyclical that have happened in my personal life since we started this, and now we're coming to an end with this.
Yeah.
But there's also the thing about before the cycle starts again, it has already begun. In a way, there's energies which have already made things happen for the next cycle of conversations.
Yeah.
You know, and what they will bring will be equally enriching as the people that have come onto Double Cabbage.
That's crazy.
And shared their.
Because that's what we actually have done. I just thought about that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Before we got to the status quo, we talked about all the other steps in all other avenues and all other circles, and now we've got to the status quo. We can finish it. We can start the next cycle.
We would never have known that in the first.
No,
episode.
exactly. Yeah.
You would have had to. You have to do the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, gotta go through it, man.
It's
Gotta
essential.
go through it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And as we let our own light shine, like this is the thing, like people who are confident exude confidence in others, and I hope also by this Double Cabbage production that we've created, that it gives people that strength and it gives people that certainty that they are not alone in any of the things that they're going through, that they have a whole world of creatives that have gone through and will go through in the future similar things. So be not afraid and keep your head up and keep going through the madness. It's like what Winston Churchill said: if you're going through hell, keep going.
You're not there yet.
That's it, man. Enjoy the
Just
scenery.
going through it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's true.
That's so funny.
Every day we're growing and changing and becoming anew. And that's how we can reach the status quo.
We're like the most dynamic living plant which exists. You know.
Yeah. Check out my leaves, man.
Yeah, man.
Sweet.
So, yeah, that was Double Cabbage, episode 6.
Pleasure, man. Nice
We're
to
done.
round it off like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, just to close off, I'd really hope that the objective of this has been met on a practical way. I hope people can look at the episodes and just find something that they might not have known before, something that a loved one might need to hear or something like that. You know, like just hope, because we put it out there, I know that there's someone there to receive it, you know, which is that really makes me feel good, like to know that humans are doing good You know, if I was looking at the earth from an outside perspective, it wouldn't be like poetical word and other people and other things like that. It would just be humans.
Yeah.
Like, how are they doing? You know, like, oh, over here it's good. Like,
you know, in the same way that for at least one person in the world, like 7.8 billion of us, your life is their dream.
Yeah.
In the same way.
Wow.
In the same.
In the same way.
Yeah.
Someone who's watching this will have really needed to hear that.
Yeah,
and
that's
we would have
true.
just provided that, and we don't even know. We will never know.
That's mad.
Trust me, it's like, you know how you say let your light shine and stuff. That you like personally, that used to piss me off when people used to say that. I was like, I'm worried. Don't tell me not to worry. You know, it's that kind of thing. So, but what I realized it means, it's like, how do you let your light shine? Like, it's not a case of you doing something outwardly to somebody else or whatever. It's like, if I'm having a shit day and I see a bit of green grass, I think, oh, it's pretty cool. Like, and then nothing for the rest of the day. That's a little bit of light shine, you know, just inside yourself. Like, and then the more you do that, it's like, okay, cool. It's raining, but like my jacket's pretty warm. Or like woke up in the morning, like, oh, cool, pretty comfortable. Even though like I'll go get to work or whatever, you know. It's like right now in this hot minute, like I'm good, you know.
That's what they say.
And then
it's
that,
just
like,
the little things, isn't it?
Yeah, momentum, like your light shine. And then when you do that inside yourself enough, it'll automatically just like erupt out of you, you know. It will just trickle out into different things, you know. Crazy, like man. So because I remember feeling for a long time like I don't know how to. I know I'm a positive person, and I have all these traits and stuff, but I don't know how or what the point of it would be if I put it out like that. You know what I'm saying? But starting inside, very small. It's like you have like one spoon and you have to carve down a mountain or something, you know what I'm saying? It's like if you just keep scraping, man, you know, just keep going. But inside yourself first, you know? And then when it comes outside, it will just be undeniable that it's your experience because you've cultivated it inside, you know? You've earned it. Therefore, when you give it to someone else or share it, they realize that value of it straight away, you know what I'm saying? And that is like impervious to like energetical Chinese whispers, basically, you know? It's
powerful because it comes from a place of truth, a place of experience, and your own truth.
100%, man.
Yeah, man.
That juicy place.
Live in your own truth.
That juicy.
Yeah, man. And even when you can't, that's okay. Live there for a while, you know, as long as you need to.
That's a ʻdʌbl ʻkæbɪྗ.
That right there is ʻdʌbl ʻkæbɪྗ.